There we go.
You forgot.
It's not great, but I don't have. Yeah, it's a two-parter. It's not great, but I don't have any other bits for today. So,
All right.
and we're in.
And we're in.
You should just cut in that like classic slasher sound that I can't replicate it. But yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
There you go.
Kind of sounds like the Dagoos.
Yeah.
We could record them.
That's probably what
I
Hitch
speak
would.
Daegu.
Robbie's fluent.
Hitchcock had Dagoos. That's where he got the sound from for Psycho.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh.
So he's bullshit.
I think they're.
I would have known
That should be our bit. We just make up a fake movie detail about every movie and just,
Believe it or not, we have been doing that. You have to go back and listen to all the podcasts again to find the fake detail. There's
Easter
only one in
eggs.
each episode. Make sure you listen on every platform.
Awesome.
But it's more like an escape room. You have to figure out what it is. So you might have to like listen through a couple of times, like transcript it.
Go back and be like, whoa, why did 30 people listen to the Dead Poet Society episode this week? As you guys know, I don't know how to start the podcast yet. So it'll either be really just awesome bits replacing notable lines in this movie with late to the movies, or something along the lines of welcome to Late to the Movies. My name is Ben Holt, and this is a podcast where my friends and I get to fill in our movie blind spots. Each week we'll pick a movie that either I or a guest hadn't seen before and really should have by now. This week, continuing our summer camp month, is Friday the 13th. And
Saturday.
I know, we're recording on a Saturday. We're so close.
It's the 30th, I think.
Yeah, we're Saturday the 30th. So not quite the same, but that wouldn't have
We're
rolled
late
off the tongue as much.
to the movies.
We are late to the movies and the calendar. My guest this week, left to right across your podcast out, we got Cory.
Hey.
Robbie.
Yo.
And Noah.
Hey.
Hey. Yeah, so this
And
is...
Ben.
Oh, yeah, I'm here too. Before we get too much into the movie, I always like to talk about what you guys have been watching, but in this particular instance, we're doing a horror movie today. We all saw a very notable horror movie. I think we all did Get Out, right? We were all on the Get Out episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was
The crew.
us.
Yeah,
Get
we
Out.
all remember,
We done
right?
both.
Yeah, I totally remember everything.
It was only like 4 weeks ago or whatever.
Oh, okay. That's a long time ago. I feel better.
Yeah, that's all it was. We all went to see Nope, Jordan Peele's new movie, Nope. And so by the time this comes out, it'll be like 2.5 weeks since it came out. So we can start not that spoilery, but we don't have to be too worried about it, I don't think. Anyway, what'd you guys think of Nope?
Spoiler alert, aliens.
Nope is
Alien.
dope. That was really good.
Yeah, true. Well, we don't know.
Ah.
Another dimensional creature.
Yeah. Or maybe just what's in the ocean. We don't know.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
fair.
wrong
Point.
movie, but yeah, I loved it. I mean, it's a lot to think about. I also felt like I was on the verge of a panic attack at times, and it was great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good. The sound was really good. I described it as it was terrifying. It was amazing.
Amazingly
Yeah.
terrifying.
And funny.
Yep.
Yeah, funny.
Somehow funny still. Definitely go see it in IMAX though to get the full experience.
God, yeah. I think I kind of want to go see it again if IMAX tickets weren't like $20 each. I've already been
It's
there,
expensive.
but, it feels like worth it if it's something I feel like I want to rewatch it. And I feel like while it's still in IMAX for maybe another week and then never again, it feels worth it to go see it again. I don't know.
That's fair.
It's worth checking out for sure.
Yeah, dude, I freaking loved it. I was kind of blown away. I really like all 3 of Jordan Peele's movies so far, but this one feels like a very clear level up in terms of the scale. Not to get too nerdy too early, but it's shot. The DP on this movie is Hoyte van Hoytema, who you probably don't know, but he's Chris Nolan's guy. He did Dunkirk and Interstellar. So he's like the go-to. We're filming this in IMAX and we want it to look massive. He's the go-to guy in Hollywood for that. And it definitely does.
And he produces his own movies and stuff, right? Like that's his own production company.
Yeah, Monkey Paw.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Jordan Peele's production company.
It's incredible.
Yeah, he's making his own kind of like a cottage industry and
It's kind
getting
of
big studio bucks to do it.
I was like, with the numbers he put up for the box office, it's kind of crazy to see like an independent person competing with like Top Gun numbers. I don't know if he came that high, but they seem pretty impressive from the headlines I saw.
Yeah, no, it's not that high, but nothing else is probably going to beat this soon. And it is a Universal movie, but it is still like, with his production company. But yeah, it's him being like, I don't actually want to be just the guy who makes funny elevated horror, like the cooler Ari Aster. He actually just wants to be this generation Spielberg, apparently, which I appreciate the ambition. It's definitely his most ambitious movie yet. He's going for a lot of stuff, and I think he mostly succeeds.
Yeah.
So that's not too spoilery. Did you not think it was like a biblically accurate angel? I thought that's what he was like going for.
Yeah, no, that was a really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely looks like that.
It
Covered
could be.
in eyes, all about viewing and observing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's at least a reference. I don't know if it is.
Yeah. No, I mean, in the
thing that like protrudes out looks like a camera lens.
It's funny because like in the Bible, every time an angel shows up, the first thing they always say is "Do not be afraid." And like when you actually break down what they look like, you understand why.
Yeah, it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah. But it starts with a Bible quote about like a
Raining.
servant of God raining filth to make someone a spectacle, or Nineveh, right?
Yeah, Ninevites. And it rains down the
I forgot
the
about
blood.
that.
There's a character named Angel.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's not the most compelling part of it, but it was just like, I felt like I was taking crazy pills because it was like, why isn't anyone else talking about this? And then I go, and it's actually just in the Wikipedia plot description for it.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I guess this isn't a unique thought.
A huge thing.
There's no original thoughts. But yeah, the short of it for me is it's big and it's original, and he's going for massive scale, and I appreciate that.
He succeeded.
I think so too.
One thing that I'm surprised not more people noticed, the mechanical camera said IMAX on it.
Very cool.
And I kept saying to everybody, like, oh, did you see it? And they're like, oh, no, I didn't notice that. I was like, damn it.
Oh, I know.
I was super pumped as soon as I saw it.
I know that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy's great too. All the characters in this are great.
They crushed it.
So cool. Kaluuya, I love his range is incredible. He did this. He did Get Out, Judas and the Black Messiah. That's like he's got ridiculous range.
Yeah, I love that a lot of his acting is nonverbal. He's a very good nonverbal actor.
Eyes.
Yeah.
He's a good eye guy.
When he was in the truck, that was like, oh man, he went through a full range of emotions without barely moving or saying anything. Except for nope.
That's when he like looks up and then he just closes the door.
Yeah. I just love the shaking his head and just nope. Like that was just such like a relatable like yep. We're all sitting there doing the same goddamn thing.
Yeah. But yeah, cool movie about, spectacle and how we incentivize ourselves to sell our trauma and relive our worst days and all that shit.
A detail I really like that I haven't seen talked about was the childhood star that got her like face mauled. She had a picture of what she looked like as a kid on her t-shirt that she was wearing to like the event. So when he was like, oh, my first childhood crush, and she waves, everybody can see what she used to look like. I just thought that was such a good, like, I don't know, you got mauled by a chimpanzee years ago, and still to this day in your life, you need to be like, no, look, I was famous. I was beautiful at one point. And like, that's just what you wear now. Like, that's crazy.
It's like someone that is still living in high school, like they were like really good at football and they're still just like that person.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to relive the times.
And then they got mauled by a monkey.
And then they got mauled by a monkey, no jaw, crazy.
Like half of our high school class just mauled by chimpanzees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
And
went
that's
to Bristol Aggie.
Everyone in this movie is like that kind of tragic figure, especially Stephen Yen, who is having to constantly relive the worst day of his life because it's the only way he can hang on to just such a tiny scrap of fame that it is just like, you could just go be a realtor and no one would ever like, you could just go do that.
Yeah. I like that. And the part that like I was thinking about when Daniel Kaluuya's character was asking about working out a deal to get the horses back. And he was just like, yeah. And like,
we can work it out.
When I was watching that, I was like, oh yeah, like, cause he's ever going to be able to put the money together. Like, that's what he was thinking.
Because they're all dead.
And then, like, it didn't hit me till after the movie. Like when I was like, oh yeah, that's why he was like, no, there's no way in hell we can get these horses back.
Yeah.
They got eaten. But yeah, he thinks he's special. Everyone thinks they're special, right? He thinks he has a special connection, but it's just
With the sky lasso.
yeah. But it's just Kaluuya, who's a horse guy who relates more to animals than people.
Yep.
Who's like, just don't fuck with it. It's territorial.
It's like, all right, well, let's
Be cool.
just let out some horses. No, they're horse people. That's not gonna fly. That was a really good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Would have worked too.
It would have worked, but horse people would absolutely not. Like that was flawless logic.
Yeah.
Well, it's like if you have a couple of dogs and they're like, just let the dogs loose. And you're
Right.
like, no.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Fucking you go run out there, asshole.
It's like, oh yeah, it comes down when horses are loose and eats them. Okay, so do that if you're trying to get a shot of it.
Bring your own damn horses, not one of my horses.
You wear a horse suit and run out there.
That would have been pretty funny. To
Yeah,
see.
it would have.
Him and Angel in a
Yeah.
horse suit.
Yeah. So something we talked about a lot last month, which I think is apt because there's a couple shots that are directly calling out Spielberg things. The the chimpanzee reaching out for the fist pump is like the ET hand. It's shot almost exactly the same way.
Covered in blood.
Obviously, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, a big touchstone for that movie too. But it was like the little things, right, that Spielberg did so good. I feel like Jordan Peele's on that same level too. In the trailer for the movie, there's like a really fine point put on Keke Palmer giving the kind of like safety talk where she forgets one of the greats. And that's like a big part of the trailer. But then in the movie, that happens, and you're like, okay, that was from the trailer. And then later in the movie, they show their dad, the Keith David's character, their dad doing it, and you realize, oh, the reason she left one out is because she was just reciting it from memory from what her dad said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, great
That's
detail.
really cool.
Yeah, right. It's like, okay. So
One thing I loved
know.
about the movie was the like incredibly wide open shots. That somehow were like
So cool.
there were no imperfections in the shot. Like there wasn't like, I don't know, someone's paper that flew like away through the shot. It was all just like perfect.
yeah, the scale's incredible. I feel like the to make it compelling for this camera to just sort of look up at the sky and rotate, and you're kind of like sitting in there trying to crane your neck to like look and see if anything's happening in the clouds.
And think
It's
about
like a
how-
fucking magic trick.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Think about how much work it must have been too to first off like go to shoot everything that's like down in the middle of things, but
Yeah.
then having to take literally everything, bring it all back to shoot where you just had like a full camera setup. Crazy.
Yeah.
They probably did it in an order that made it a little more convenient, but still.
Still.
Well, that's why we don't need video editors in the Oscars.
Yeah. So there's a couple insane shots and sequences in this movie that are like, okay, this is what I wanted from a Jordan Peele movie. This is something I've never seen before. So the Gordy's home sequence where they actually show the whole thing happen.
I can close my eyes right now and picture that monkey covered in blood clear as day. It's like a photograph.
I don't even
Like,
have to
just-
close my eyes.
like,
I'm
you
just
can
looking into
see it.
space.
See it. It's just burnt into my head.
I think that's definitely like the most recent time I can remember unconsciously like flinching away from the screen when he finally looks and sees the kid and he's walking over to him and you're just like, fuck.
Yep.
And every like doom, doom, doom.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
wet,
Like you-
the
like,
wet
ooh,
splashes.
Yes.
Yeah, the
And-
sounds were nuts.
Yeah.
And
How
speaking
are
of
you
which-
okay watching that?
Yeah, it's fine. I've been doing a lot of work on it.
CGI.
Nice.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, this is hell. You've done a lot of horror movies for this podcast. So some of them bloodier than others,
Yeah.
like today's movie.
This one was fine. This is my perfect level of horror where it was just like they didn't have to show it. You fucking don't have to show it. I don't know how many amazing movies need to make that point, but it's just so much more terrifying hearing those sounds and seeing the chimp covered in blood. You just don't need to see
because
the
he's
face
behind
getting
the couch
eaten.
from it or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
It leaves room for imagination too.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing he's taking from, I guess you could say Spielberg, but Hitchcock too. And
Because like it's so say they had shown her face getting eaten, that's what would be stuck in your head instead of this like terrifying chimp covered in blood. You know what I like? Which is a way scarier
From the perspective of
like
the kid.
kid,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, that's my rant.
no, that's not right. It's fine. That's totally right. And then the other thing that I was just like, well, I've never seen that shit before. Is the Star Lasso sequence where they're actually in the arena all the people get sucked up and you see them like getting digested.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
by the thing.
That was
And it looks like some kind of twisted, like bouncy house. And
And the broken horse inside of there is just like cutting them up as they're sloshing around.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that's what was happening.
That too, along with them
With the
in the bouncy house.
I love the detail too of like the ship screaming because there's people inside of it screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
you
that's
just hear
just
it
such like a
whenever it passes
terrifying
over.
like
yeah.
because you can imagine like seeing the ship and you're like, what is that fucking screaming sound? And then like as the viewer, like, yeah, that's just people. It's not making that sound. There's people in there
Yeah.
screaming.
Yeah.
Being digested live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yep. That's and yeah, it looks like a fucking weird pillowy like moon bounce situation. It's just this bizarre carnival like of death aesthetic that Jordan Peele has in all of his movies.
I'm imagining it screens and it just like meshes them because it seems like what the monster was after was carbon because I think it wanted our bones, spit out all the blood. So I don't think it was actually after blood. I think it was
And
after
it didn't spit out any bones.
No, it just spit out the objects and
Oh,
so I
yeah.
think it like ground our bones
Yeah.
down to carbon, absorbed that,
And
and
then the non-organic stuff, it's
it spits out. If you think about it like in a universal scale, carbon's probably one of the more rare, like organic carbon anyway. Like
Rare materials. Yeah.
no. Sorry, that's not necessary for the movie. That's just where
No,
my
I'm glad you
brain went,
mentioned that
I was like,
because
I think that's what it was
didn't
going
think of
for.
that at
Yeah,
all.
I
Yeah.
didn't think about any of that.
That's super
so
interesting.
those two shots, if it wasn't in the trailer, it hovering over the house and like drenching it with blood would have been one
that
of
was a
those
really
moments
cool
too.
scene.
I didn't see that. I didn't know that was in the trailer.
I didn't
remember.
I specifically
Yeah,
was
same.
trying not to watch
Same.
trailers, but I
Remember
go to movies a lot, and it was like in before the last few movies I went to see.
Am I crazy, or was there a trailer where it almost looked like the UFO thing was crashing into the ground behind him? Like I thought there was a trailer where it looked like they almost like I was expecting them to drag it down into the ground because I thought I saw like a trailer in theaters where it like crashed into the ground. But
I don't remember one.
Yeah.
There was the shot of him on the horse riding away from
Trying
it
to
with
escape.
it behind him.
that might be what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
and it's low to the ground then.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's in the movie too. And that's another one. Like, why do you need to put that in the trailer?
No, there's no need for that.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to mention this too. I love that the actor, so he made his kids dress up as aliens, but if you notice those alien suits, they look just like fucking chimpanzees.
Yeah.
So when you first
Alien
saw them
chimps.
like walking around, I was like, oh, that's why the chimp was in here because these aliens, they're doing like a parallel, like the aliens kind of look. And then when you find out, they're faking and like his backstory, you're like, no, the parallel is his biggest fear is chimps, and that's what he's projecting the unknown onto. I don't know. I just thought it was really
Yeah.
And he's selling like stuffed animals and merch with that shit on it
They
for his
look-
livelihood.
They look
And
exactly
that scene
like it.
was terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Such a good scene.
it was just like seeing that face and that thing move was like, oh fuck. I think Miles went, oh hell no.
Yeah.
Immediately, I was like, that's great.
The way they
Nope
had
is a
those
great
kids
name for the
move
movie.
was some of the creepiest film. That was so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got me.
I always think of more than what monsters look like. It's their locomotion that is like
Yeah.
the scariest to me.
Yeah.
The more twitchiness,
Yeah.
the more scared I am.
Yeah,
Like if
and
they're
that's-
just like walking, it's like
Yeah.
okay, but if they're just like, I'm like, nope.
Yeah,
I think we were just all scarred by the Ring at a young age, and that's
Yeah,
It's pretty.
I don't think I've
people
seen
kind
it.
of coming at a weird frame rate out of a TV.
I don't think I've seen the full Ring, but I do think I've seen enough horror movies spoofs of the Ring that I've seen the Ring.
Like
I
Scream.
feel like I've probably seen it frame by frame just from spoofs.
All right, cool. All right. So, any other thoughts on Nope before we end the spoiler portion of this and
honestly,
welcome the people back in?
probably plenty of things to mention.
Yeah,
but
there's a ton.
I think it's time for some
We-
slasher.
Yeah, we got to 20 minutes, so I figured that's good.
Yeah.
A lot of creepy fucking dudes in this movie
Yeah.
saying very creepy things to women. I
That's
took
just
a
how-
lot of notes there.
That's how dudes were back then.
Here, let me help you into this car. 2 hands
Grabs
full
your
of
ass.
All the girls at that camp look as good as you.
Yep.
And he's like the good guy in that scene,
Yeah, yeah.
as opposed to the crazy guy.
That's as good as it gets.
Yeah, so
The crazy guy was the best guy in the entire thing.
Yeah, he's
Right.
my favorite
He was
guy.
just trying to help people out.
He was my favorite guy.
Let's get
He's
into
a little
the-
weird, but
yeah. Let's do a plot summary from someone. So yeah, this is Friday the 13th. I had not seen it before. What about you guys?
I had not.
I have a long time ago.
I remember, like, I just from cultural osmosis, I knew most of the plot. I knew Kevin Bacon was in it. I knew
Damn it, that was my note. Bacon, comma, Kevin Bacon.
I also made a note about that.
I knew who the killer was, so that wasn't like a surprise to me. I thought it was more of a twist, but I think that's only with the benefit of hindsight. So that being said, pretty much any of us can do a 1 minute plot summary. Who's feeling like it?
I don't think we need a minute.
I was gonna say I'd rather.
That's like a
Well,
20
you have
second.
max minutes. You don't have to use it all.
All right, well, I got it. Okay. Cut. Summer camp. A bunch of kids are going to summer camp. This camp closed down because people were murdered. They decided, let's open up this camp again, even though terrible things happen. But they all die except for one person, and then she wakes up, thinks she's crazy. And then they definitely planned for a second and third movie because at the end they were like, he's still there? End movie.
Yeah, you did in about 22 seconds. So yeah, 1980. This movie comes out.
Stripmonopoly. I forgot that.
Stripmonopoly is such a weird one to pick.
I'm curious. What does you think of the movie? Like, you don't really ask us if we liked it or not, so I'm curious what your thoughts were on that.
I would have gone to if I liked it or not too. I thought it was fine. Yeah, it's fine. It was made to capitalize on Halloween's success, and they steal a lot from that. But it also is generating some stuff. It's one of those movies that's impossible to look at with any kind of fresh eyes now, because I thought a lot about Cabin in the Woods watching this. That movie is about this whatever, you don't know, company, organization, government, whatever, that is designing a scenario that the joke of it is this is the stereotypical American horror movie. And the rules for it are essentially a mix of this movie and Evil Dead. Especially the character archetypes are just straight up this movie. There's the fool, he has to die first. Then the people who had sex. Then the maybe kind of nerdy guy. And then the final girl is the one who seems like she might be a virgin.
Gotcha.
And everyone else who dies at some point does something like somewhat promiscuous. Because even the girl who dies at the archery range, she took her shirt off during Stripmonopoly.
Gotcha. Yeah. I would say when we got here, I did not like the movie. I thought the first hour or so was just dog shit, and the last 20 minutes was really good. I didn't know about the twist, so I thought that was a good twist. But I see what I like that it's the archetypes, I guess. My problem with it was I feel like there was no thought put into any of the characters whatsoever. They were all just existed to be cannon fodder. And it was very clear they were like that, because the second they got any kind of development, they were immediately killed. There was no who's going to be the survivor? Because I didn't care about any of them. I was just one of these people is going to survive. Cool. But anytime you could start to develop a connection or care about a character, they just killed them immediately. So I don't know. I just wasn't super impressed with it having an almost 5-star rating on Amazon when I went to go play it. And
you can't trust Amazon.
Rotten Tomatoes is
It's
a 60%.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair.
Amazon's going to give everything a good rating. It's
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you guys think?
You go first. I don't know. I feel like any of these kind of movies, it's so hard to watch. I'd never seen it before, so now it's 2022 and I'm watching this film. I feel like I can't really give it a good rating because of that. But yeah, I have the same kind of qualms as Robbie does, and it's a lot of the character. You can't really get into the characters, and they kind of talk like they're NPC characters, and I don't know. A lot of that kind of stuff bothered me, but.
The thing is, the thing is, I just watched Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween, and both of those movies are significantly better than this one, and they both
kind of
came out
bookends around either end of this. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's perfect. And they both had way more interesting characters and way better developed plots. This one was just like you said, capitalizing on Halloween. I see that they were people like people getting stabbed. Let's do a bunch of stabbing. Yeah. But sorry, I know.
Yeah. And what do you think?
It's tough because I personally don't like watching older movies very much. I thought the first hour of the movie didn't have as much going on and didn't need to last an hour. It was just the first hour felt like filler.
It takes a while.
Yeah, and then the last 30 minutes were oh hell yeah, this is where stuff happens. But the first hour was just I think it was Robbie that said there's NPCs.
Oh no.
Yeah. They're just insert normal late teens.
The archetypes that Ben was
Yeah.
like, this is a nerd, this is a jock, this is a
Yeah.
fool. Like,
Yeah.
perfect. Give them NPC fool dialogue.
Yeah.
It's funny because like the positive reviews from around then were like, well, the acting's like really natural. And it's like, I mean, I guess for the kids, not for everyone, because definitely not counting Mrs. Voorhees. But
Yeah.
I guess like the kids, they're natural in the sense that like they're just whoever. It doesn't really matter.
So
I
Yeah.
feel like the acting wasn't good.
it's almost
I
impossible
would
to
agree.
say this
I would
without
agree.
sounding like a weirdo, but I'm gonna fucking put it on recording anyway. But where like I really saw that, and what I was really impressed with was that sex scene. It felt like two people actually having sex, not like watching porn. I feel like most sex scenes I see nowadays are more of a reflection of porn rather than what like two people being intimate look like. And that felt like two people being intimate. And I like kind of appreciated that. I not like in a weird, like this makes me horny way, but in like a, oh, this is two people having sex, not two people fucking. I don't know.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just,
Yeah. So those two actors, one is which is Kevin Bacon, and then the guy who was like the kind of comic relief guy.
okay.
Those three had worked together before in soap operas.
Gotcha.
So they weren't big names. Kevin Bacon wasn't a big name yet, but they were like professional actors, and who had worked together before. And so they mostly are like in some scenes together, and they like actually have some chemistry. And they're like, oh, okay, these are real people.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
But yeah, for the most part, it's kind of just whatever.
Yeah.
It's a really weird movie. So yeah, it's I guess one thing to talk about is expectations versus what it actually was. For me, the biggest one was just how long it takes to get going. The fact that the reveal of it's actually Mrs. Voorhees is only a twist if you know about Jason, but they don't. But she's the one who brings up Jason. They don't ever say Jason until she comes on. So it's just you don't know who's killing people.
Oh no, they
Oh.
did. They mentioned it.
They mention a boy drowned. I don't think they say Jason.
Really? Maybe it was just a subconscious, like I already knew, so they're like, yeah, the boy, Jason.
It's
Right in there,
like
yeah.
Enos when he's giving Annie a ride mentions all the bad things that have happened, and one of the things in the list is that a boy drowned.
They never said Jason.
So I didn't realize that either because I thought it was a big twist because I just knew Jason is the villain in Friday the 13th and he's a
Right.
boy that died in a lake. So I already I must have just assumed I heard the word
Right.
Jason. But that was a really cool twist for me. I really enjoyed that it was his
Yeah.
mom. I would have enjoyed the whole movie series more if the Jason thing like wasn't in this movie at all. Like if that and you can wash it away as like, oh, she was just having a hallucination.
Yeah.
Because I really like that interpretation of the ending instead of he's still like, fuck that. Like I like the like, was she dreaming? Was she exhausted? Did she just like fall out of the boat and have a nightmare? Like, and the mom
Yeah.
was really crazy. Like that's a real human horror movie. Like
Yeah, she's just seen a bunch of her friends get like brutally murdered, so she could just be having a bad dream. That would
been
make sense.
up all night.
Right. Just running through the sometimes pouring rain, sometimes no rain.
Did she do all the killings?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize.
I don't think
that.
Jason killed anyone. I wasn't even convinced that it was like he was actually in the lake if I didn't know that there was fucking a million other movies in the stupid.
Right. That's the
pieces
thing.
there.
It's not necessarily a twist. You just don't see the killer because all the kills are from POV until she pops out of the van or she like drives in the Jeep and you're like, well, it's an hour and 10 minutes of the movie. I don't know who the killer is yet.
Yep.
It's probably this new character since every other character we've just seen get murdered.
Well, it was either that or she was going to get murdered immediately. That's like when she popped out, I was like, either she comes out of the house and this is another lure and she gets murdered immediately, or
It's fun. It doesn't make you wait around though. So I wrote down the timestamp. It's an hour and 30 until the end of the credits on this movie. Mrs. Voorhees pops out of her car, hour 15. Within 2 minutes, she's monologuing about Jason.
okay.
Within 3 or 4 minutes, she's doing the like, kill her, mommy.
Yeah.
Kill her.
That shit was creepy.
Yeah, she was creepy.
Genuinely unsettling.
Yeah.
But then another like expectation versus the actual movie thing. And I know this is a thing people have made fun of for years, is just like when you're actually seeing her try to kill the last girl, Alice, any blow to this lady, she falls down. You can just run away from her.
Yeah.
And I just like, for the life of me, I don't understand. You've seen so many dead, mutilated people. You've gotten this person down, and you're just like gonna gingerly skirt around her and not keep swinging that thing till your arms stop working. Because that's what I'm doing.
Well,
right? Like,
Not only that, but I'm more just like, this woman has been brutally, like really murdering people. She passes an arrow through a mattress and through Kevin Bacon's neck. She ties up that other lady and throws
that
her
was
through
probably
a
the coolest
glass
kill.
window. And then when Alice is actually fighting her, if she like slaps her, she falls down for 30 seconds.
Fair.
So I guess she took all these other people by surprise, but she's not much of a hand-to-hand combat.
Well, that's what it said, like, because she's like an old lady. So, and like even like the camp guy, he was like, "Oh, you," and then he stabbed because he wasn't expecting her to be the killer. He's just the neighbor. She's just the friendly old lady. And then made sense the beginning scene with that was the kill that pissed me off the most. The girl on the way to camp and they just murdered her before she even got there. I was like, you spent like 5 minutes building up a backstory and just murdered her. But it made more sense of like why she was comfortable in the car and stuff like that. And then like,
Well, it seemed like she would have gotten in the car with anybody.
that's true.
She's
was just
never had
whatever.
anything bad happen to her in her
In
entire life.
Right.
She
Yeah.
was just all like, "Oh wow, oh, yeah, let's get to the car
Yeah.
with a stranger."
So, even though this is a 1980 movie, they filmed in
Yeah.
79, and it feels like a 70s movie. It just does. There's just kids walking around,
Yeah.
getting in cars.
I think that was right around the time when it stopped because it was when the big serial killers happened to the late 70s that people were like, yeah, you can't hitchhike anymore because some of those people are just murdering you.
Yeah, it's crazy to think like Reagan's president. Well, he gets elected.
They made some very interesting comments about Reagan in the movie. I wish I had wrote that down. I forgot what it was, but or
He would have been campaigning, I guess, when this comes out, right?
something like that.
It's the 80 election, but inauguration's 81, whatever. And that's just weird to think about because it feels like such an older movie than that. Just like the kind of vision of Americana as this sort of transient sort of people sort of drifting around. And yeah, it doesn't feel 80s to me, but whatever.
It is funny how just terrifying the country was to people in those time period. Like in the 70s and 80s, just like nobody around was a terrifying concept. Like if you lived like out in the middle in like the country, like that was just like bam, horror movie plot. I mean, I guess it still is to some extent. It's just funny to think of like, I don't know, just feels like they were terrified of like hills have eyes and stuff. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's just a systematic deconstruction of the places where you feel safe with Halloween's about the suburbs. This about childhood summer camps. Yeah.
Freddy's about going to bed.
Freddy's about
You can't even sleep anymore.
Can't even sleep anymore.
Feel comfortable in bed? Too bad.
Yeah.
Too
So
bad,
between Jaws in the 70s, you get water. Can't go in the water anymore. You get sleeping, suburbs,
Yep.
the countryside,
When did Deliverance
Texas
come
Chainsaw
out?
Massacre, the South.
Yep.
When
Sorry?
did Deliverance come out? That had to have been before this movie, right? That was like
80s?
70s.
70s
80s?
or 80s, one of those. So yeah, Appalachia's out of the picture.
Damn it.
Nope.
By
Was
Blair Witch, you can't go in the woods anymore.
Hills Have Eyes is desert, right?
I think so.
Something.
Oh, it's in the hills.
Yeah.
Thought it was like California desert. I haven't seen that one. I need to watch that at some point. I've heard it's
Oh.
terrifying.
No
Oh,
one's
yeah, I've
safe.
seen that.
This movie's filmed in New Jersey, but it really looks like it's more like the country.
Yeah.
You know?
Virginia or something.
I'd be surprised if there's anywhere in Jersey that undeveloped at this point.
There's a lot actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's a garden state.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not like the mental image that you necessarily would have for that state.
No.
My
To be
first
fair,
note
it's far
is
away from everything, so
I don't know if this is going to help, but the first note I have on this is you got to get down on Friday.
You gotta.
You got to.
Would you, if somebody was telling you you're going to a camp and you're going to be murdered, like or anywhere, if we're going somewhere and somebody tells us don't go there, you're going to be murdered. What do you do? Because like I was thinking
I don't
about
know.
genuinely as a person, like would I be like, maybe I don't go there? Would you put any
I would
stock
certainly
into it?
reflect on it as I was about to have an axe swung at me. You're like, damn, that guy was right.
I don't feel like I've ever been going somewhere and somebody said, don't go there, you'll be murdered. And I'm genuinely curious what my reaction would be, especially after the second time. I think definitely by the second time, I'd be like, I'm just not like, even if there's not something there that's going to murder me, one of these two fucks is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna kill you. It's gonna be me.
I would have been like, okay. I'm in this area that I clearly know nothing about. I don't know the history,
Right.
and this seemingly normal truck driver just told me I'm gonna die if I go there. I'm
Yeah.
probably just not gonna go there. You know, I can get a different job for the summer.
Totally right.
A crazy person told me I was going to die, and the truck driver was like, no, but
Oh yeah, it was a second
seriously,
person.
though."
You go into a thing and you're like, "Yeah, where's Camp Crystal Lake?" They go, "Oh, Camp Blood."
They all stop talking
Don't believe
immediately.
it's that one because I'm not going anywhere named
Yeah,
Camp
hold
Blood.
on. Rewind. Did you say Camp Blood? Yeah, everybody gets murdered there.
Yeah,
Oh, I mean, I don't believe in ghosts.
totally unfazed.
Nearest payphone. Going back home.
Yeah.
If I paid for it, I'd probably just go.
Yeah.
It was expensive.
Well, she's getting paid.
Yeah.
It was her job.
Like if you need
Oh.
a job, I guess maybe. I
but
don't
back
know.
then,
Hey.
you could get a part-time job anywhere. You could just walk down the street.
You
and
could
be
have worked
like,
in that
Probably
diner.
could've-
or
yeah.
whatever,
she was
probably.
she was saying how this was her chance to like work with kids and it's her dream, and I'm like, I don't
You're
know,
cooking
anybody can work
food.
with
She's not
kids.
working.
Go
She's
be
literally
a
not
teacher.
working with the kids. She's cooking.
right.
Yeah.
How hard is it to like get a teaching license in 1979?
You didn't even. They didn't even have them. They're like,
show up
you
at
want
school,
to do
be
this?
like, "Yeah,
Oh,
I'm young, I can do it." Whatever.
You can't kill the kids. Okay,
I
you're
got
in.
this.
So we mentioned before the Halloween connections, mainly the POV thing.
But yeah, I really love the POV shots.
Yeah.
Because the perspective of the killer is just like, for me, way creepier because you can see that the other people don't know that someone's watching them. And I really like that.
that is, I mean, it's like I guess you could call it like a cheap gimmick, but I thought it was really effective for being, because a lot of the movie besides that's going pretty slow.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be in
Yeah.
that moment. You're hearing the,
Yep.
and I think they made a point that that's when you hear music is when it's when the killer's present is the only times you're hearing music.
Interesting.
Oh,
You ever
okay.
played Dead by Daylight?
Yeah.
It's freaky.
Similar concepts.
Similar feeling, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The heartbeat.
So, what do you guys interpret that like sound as? Because there is a right answer, but it doesn't.
What do you mean?
What do you think is being said there?
Oh, there's words there?
Mhm.
Kill her, mommy.
I don't know.
So I'll just
I
say
don't know.
Corey's right.
Yeah.
They took kill and mommy.
Oh,
And just
okay. So I
it's-
was right.
The first sound, kill and mom.
Kill, mama. Oh, okay.
And they put it through a bunch of processors and stuff, so it sounds more like
Oh, that's
but
kinda
it's
cool.
actually
That's cool.
kill,
Fun
kill,
detail.
kill, mom, mom, mom.
Oh,
So
interesting.
that's what he took from that. And that is, I think, like you were saying, from this movie at least, probably the most enduring part of this movie is that sound effect.
Yeah.
It's a good sound effect.
Yeah, you hear it in a lot of things.
Yeah, it's a touchstone for sure. This movie probably, maybe, arguably originates the comic relief guy that dies early.
Okay.
Almost kills that girl with a bow and arrow at the beginning.
Yeah.
I'm just goofing around.
Yeah, I
Sure.
literally
Shot
wrote
in
that
the
down. I was
face.
like, that was so fucking stupid. It's like pulling out a gun and being like, wow, see, look, I almost shot you,
Yeah.
but I didn't.
I like how she has that like wry smile on her face, like, "Oh, you almost killed me, you scamp," and like she's saying that. Like,
She seems legitimately mad at him, too.
well, at
At
first, and
first.
then
But like, not as mad as she should be.
No, she should have been more mad. Like, dude, that's a murder. If you miss by a little bit, you've done a murder.
Yeah,
She got over it real quick.
Those are bad stakes for a prank.
he's not even using like a his hunting bow. He's using a shitty camp regular recurve bow that's been sitting and not maintained for God knows how
Probably
long.
like warped plastic.
That could have,
Yep.
Could have just as easily exploded when he pulled it back.
Yeah, seriously. So that's not that guy, but the other guy that kind of looks like him that isn't comic relief.
I thought they were the same person for most of the
right,
movie.
but is in the strip Monopoly. That's Bing Crosby's son.
Okay.
Something Crosby. Sydney.
And that's where Baby It's Cold Outside came from.
Yep. So yeah, it's a fine movie. Once the mom comes out and it gets so much goofier and she's doing her acting and just like immediately transitioning into, it seems at first that she's going to make some points about like, but you haven't had sex and you weren't like taking your clothes off in the Monopoly game, so you're cool with me. And she kind of starts with that vibe, but then immediately transitions to, actually, no, I'm going to kill you too. Hate
Yeah.
these people.
You know what was really creepy, and I wrote scarier than the actual murder, was when I don't know her name, the girl in the pink shirt, when she was talking about her dream where like I have this dream where like I hear hail hitting the ground and it actually is drops of blood crashing down and like going away in rivers of blood. I was like, that's way scarier than like someone getting stabbed in the neck.
Yeah.
That's because we just saw Nope.
Yeah, and I was gonna mention it earlier, but I was like, I'll wait till later on.
Yeah.
That did-
That's a good point.
That's
seemed
all I
like
could
out
think
of
of.
place, kind of.
Yeah,
I was
it
kind
was
of annoyed
weird,
that
very
they
out of the blue.
like just didn't do anything with it. They just kind of like mentioned it and like
They didn't make that like her, her
There's some
It was
blood,
murder.
but not
raining.
rivers.
It was
no,
raining
Like,
and there was
like
blood.
it's not even
Yeah.
like I was trying
There
to
was
like
a lot of rain.
like did
for
it?
them.
Slayer wasn't around yet, so it didn't make sense.
Because I was like, was there a point to this? Does it tie in at all?
Nope,
It's like
not
no,
at all.
she just kind of had.
And the dude's like, yeah, but that was just a dream. let's go
make
Let's
out.
put that aside. Also, Steve Christie, I decided looked like a porn star.
Terrible job by him. He just taking nothing but L's, that character.
Oh yeah,
Was he
Looks
the,
like a porn star.
was he
The supposedly the
owner of
adult.
the camp or whatever?
Yeah, he was just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm going to take my shirt off and hit on this young girl
Yeah.
and then abandon them and go to a diner that's apparently more than 12 miles away, according to that street
and
sign.
flirt with this 60-year-old lady.
yeah,
She-
It was so creepy when he like touched her hair. I don't think it was like Alice. I don't remember her
Yeah,
name.
it's fucked up.
And he just like touched the hair and then just walked away. And she's just
Put a
like,
shirt on, bro.
okay. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah, everyone's that I wrote everyone's skeevy in this movie. at
Yeah,
that
yeah.
A
point.
lot of those
she's
vibes.
like, oh, I'm thinking about going home. And he's like, no, stay. He's like, I'm really thinking about going home.
She's like, okay.
yeah, no, but
I'll
just
give it
she's
another
like,
week.
Yeah, this sounds good.
He says like wait a week and see how you feel or whatever.
Thanks, Alice.
But yeah, so
Don't
that-
understand why I needed to go to the diner either. Sorry.
and again, it's pretty far away in the middle of a storm.
His cook didn't show up, so
He-
I don't know what these kids were supposed to be doing.
Right, yeah. He knows those kids don't really have any infrastructure there and it's literally a storm and he's like, I got to go make sure they're okay. Bad job, dude.
I
Bad job,
want to know
Mr.
what
Jones.
all of you thought was the most brutal murder.
Axe to the forehead, right?
I would agree with
So
probably the most brutal. I enjoyed probably the one you're going to mention the best.
Yeah.
Though.
Well, I actually wrote.
Is it the
This
guy that gets
question-
arrowed?
Well,
To the
I
door?
put axe
That's what I
as
was
the most
thinking.
brutal,
Yeah.
but the coolest one was the arrow.
Through the, you're talking about Kevin Bacon in the bed?
The bed, yeah.
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 But I think the axe was the
one
most
too.
brutal. It was like, ooh,
Yeah.
the
and that's-
knife throat one, the knife.
It seems like
throat
she's-
knife cut one was like really poorly done.
It was poorly executed.
It was like really shitty.
yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever they used for fake skin back in the day was way too stretchy to be like scary looking, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also people like were still just like, oh no. And then they like slowly slowed
Yeah.
down. Oh,
They could have cut that better too to make it look better. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of her go-to. Well, not for everyone, but for a bunch of them, their throats are slit. In addition,
Yeah.
like Bill's got the arrow through the eye, and solidly enough in him that he's being held up on just those 3 arrows. But also his throat slit, I think.
How did she do that?
Again, because she's a very weak lady. When you actually see her and she's not in
She
POV.
gets pushed over very easily.
If she's not murdering people off screen or in first person, she's bad at it.
Because I was like, if the only way I could see him being held up in the door is if she was like with her hand holding him above the ground and with the arrow pinned him to the door. Because how do you shoot an arrow with him above the like ground?
He jumped at the perfect time.
And he
Oh
took-
shit! I'm gonna dodge this out.
She scared him, so he went like, "Oh no!"
Perfect shot. I was really like, I was trying to figure out the logistics of that. I was like, all right, I guess this isn't how I'm supposed to be spending my
Yeah,
time.
it's probably not the way you spend it. I like when Alice finds Steve is the adult, right? I think you
Yep,
said.
Steve Christie.
When she finds his body
know
and
that 'cause I
it, and
wrote
it
it down.
like swings down, which is just like, was there a tree? That's just how one of the victims in Halloween like swings out at Laurie too.
Oh, wow.
But in this sense, it's just like in the middle of I guess a grove of trees. Maybe he was hanging up on one.
You should just kill her to find time to do bits. Like, she didn't even know somebody was gonna run into that. She was like, I'm gonna booby trap this body, so it's gonna just freak somebody out. Like, what are you doing?
Also, I don't even think she could climb a tree.
Never
Never
mind
mind
with
with
Steve
a
Christie.
heavier human being. And then I don't, somehow, rig a trap that, yeah. When did she have time to do this?
Yeah, not a lot of thought put into
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's like a
Killings.
supernatural aspect.
Are you sure Jason didn't do any of this? He had no hand in
We
this?
don't know.
I'm gonna believe
I
that he
didn't.
did.
I don't think.
So it develops
I don't
in the
think he
sequels from
did.
there. He doesn't even get his mask until like the third one, right?
Really?
The
Yeah.
hockey mask.
It's
Yeah.
pretty later on.
Yeah, he has a sack in 2, I think.
Okay.
I mean, he had a sack in 1 too, but they didn't let you
Hey-o.
see that one.
Hey.
I was thinking that like his mom dying was what brought him to life, or like I don't know.
That's kind of it. There's like another twist in the second one that he's
You can
okay. He's got her head that gets decapitated, and he's got
Okay.
like a shrine to it, and
interesting.
because it turns out he didn't drown in the lake. He's just been hanging out at that campsite.
Wait, are you
But people
serious?
didn't know he was there.
Seriously?
That's how it's retconned in the sequels. Yeah,
Fantastic.
is that like he didn't drown, but like he's just been sort of like he got brain damage or whatever. He actually was like underwater and lost
Oh, whoa,
consciousness.
whoa.
And so he's just been living like on rats or whatever. Just
Forest person.
afraid to leave
Yeah,
his
for-
camp.
that's exactly it.
That's all he hears in his head all day.
He gets over it though. Eventually, he goes to space.
Oh well, good for him. I didn't see him becoming an astronaut really with that kind of
Yeah,
upbringing.
No,
killer
well-
clowns from outer space.
So
He's the main
it
character.
eventually
Probably met him up
evolves
there.
into he's unkillable. So they freeze him, send him to space. Someone
right.
thaws him out,
Of course.
and he's killing people in space.
Aliens.
I
Was it
keep
the guy
shooting
from
all my
Aliens?
problems into space, and some asshole keeps thawing them out and sending them back.
It's fucked up, man.
God damn.
So before we get too far from it, that lady who plays Mrs. Voorhees, that is, oh my God, Betsy Palmer.
Her teeth were really creepy. I don't know why.
Yeah, she had creepy teeth, creepy face, very butch
Yeah.
haircut.
Yeah.
Just a weird look. It's funny when you see her finally and you realize that I guess she's been doing all these murders in a bright blue cable knit sweater
With no blood on it.
with no blood on
That's
it.
why it's so surprising.
I guess
she's
she could have
crocheting
changed, but
In her spare time, she's in the trees crocheting, watching these kids.
yeah. And it's just like this older lady. She, for her credit, said that the movie was, she thought the movie was a piece of shit, but she needed a new car. So she did it.
She get to keep the Jeep.
Maybe she gets to keep the Jeep. Maybe that was the deal.
That really came
Sick
through
Jeep.
in
They
her
paid her in
acting.
Jeeps. She had done like much, more classy movies than this, but earlier in her career. And then they asked some other people to do it. They were trying to get like bigger names for the Alice part as well, but then realized we can't actually pay any of these people. Yeah. But
We're not even sure if anybody's gonna watch this.
no,
It's kind of funny because if you asked any actor now, like, "Oh, would you have liked to have starred in Friday the 13th as a kid?" They would have been like, "I would have done it for free."
Mhm.
to be a part of that. Yeah.
yeah. And it
Kevin
obviously
Bacon,
has
though.
like a big following now, but at the time it's a huge deal. It's made for $550,000, makes over $50 million.
Nice.
And
That's
$70 or
Yeah.
$80.
Yeah, that's a
And
lot of money.
is that right? 50, yeah. It grosses 59.8 worldwide, so 60 million basically on a $550,000 budget. It's made and then sold to a major studio. Paramount eventually buys the distribution rights for it. And they made a good bet. Made a lot of money.
And they're still making money off it.
What
Yeah.
are they on, like 20 movies at this point?
It's got to be something like that. So
It's pretty close. I don't think I'm exaggerating.
yeah. So it's made to cash in on the Halloween moment, but it is not as good as Halloween.
I agree.
So why was it such a big deal? Because it's just standing on the shoulders of giants and stealing a lot from other better movies. But I don't know. I had a good time, especially once that mom gets out there and starts doing mom stuff, and you're like,
I could have skipped the first 30 minutes and then really enjoyed, I think, solid hour.
It takes a bit to get going.
It does.
And like you were saying, the transfer, at least the one that's on Paramount, looks like shit. So
Yeah. The
hard-
one
hard
that
to
was
look at.
on Pluto TV was also pretty bad.
real bad, like digital compression, making shit.
It
look
looks like
splotchy.
they transferred it outside.
Yeah, it did, but whatever. It's still a fun time. So you guys gonna go and watch all the Jason movies now?
I saw Freddy versus Jason.
There you
I saw
go.
that
thought it
too.
was
In
good.
theaters, actually.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like that
I
one.
might have seen that. No, I've seen Alien versus Predator.
It's almost the same.
The other versus movie.
Yeah.
Bunch of weirdos trying to kill each other.
It came out around the same time, I'm pretty sure, right? Like
That sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds
I was
right.
going to say that was the time in our lives where it was just like, well, I guess I'll go to a movie. It's the weekend.
Yeah, because I saw Alien
what's
versus
playing.
Predator 2 and
got them
hadn't
all
seen
anyways.
most of the
Yes,
any of
I-
those movies.
I saw Alien versus Predator before any Alien or Predator.
Same.
movie.
Yeah.
Because that's what was fucking playing, and I wanted to go to the movies.
Back in our day, kids.
And I should have shouted this out before, but new Predator movie coming out.
really?
It's called Prey. It comes out August 5th.
Oh my God.
It'll be out by this time, and apparently it's awesome.
Oh, hell yeah.
okay.
Most of the reviews are saying it is at least the best Predator movie since Predator,
Wow.
and some are saying it's better than that.
Wow.
Who's the director? I probably won't know what this is. but-
That's a good question. It's a guy who has done stuff that you would recognize. It's the 10 Cloverfield Lane guy.
I haven't seen that film.
His name's Dan Trachtenberg, so like you wouldn't necessarily recognize that, but 10 Cloverfield Lane I thought was pretty cool. He did the Black Mirror episode playtest.
Oh,
I watched that.
Really like that one.
He's directed some episodes of The Boys,
Okay.
Oh,
most relevant to
Okay.
this table, perhaps. But yeah, so Prey is coming out on August 5th, and by the time this episode's out, it'll be August 8th, I think. So
Oh shit! It's almost not July.
yeah.
tomorrow is last.
Have you guys done Predator on the podcast yet?
No,
Oh, that'd be a good one.
No.
That'd be a fun one.
Yeah.
yeah, you just do like 80s actions movies at some point, maybe. But apparently, Prey is going to be really good, so I'm looking forward to that. The controversy around that is that it was like a Fox movie. Disney is just putting it straight out on Hulu. They're not putting it in theaters.
Oh fuck yeah!
Ooh, okay.
Sorry, I like that. I don't have to spend money.
It seemed
or go
everyone's
anywhere.
like, man,
There
this
you
seems
go.
like it'd be really cool to see in theaters.
Yeah, I feel like
Oh,
IMAX
wow.
would be really cool.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's too bad.
because it's
I
like
mean,
it's
it's
like
cool,
the
but also too
first.
bad.
It's like the first time a Predator came to Earth. Apparently, it's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I don't
That's
end
just
up
based on
watching
trailer. I
movies
could be
in
completely
theaters.
wrong. Maybe it's not prehistoric, but yeah.
That's been the trend. Yeah, I just won't. I probably won't watch it unless I end up doing the podcast.
I was just gonna say, I'm just looking through my notes now to see if there's anything else really worth mentioning. Enos could have given her a ride all the way to that camp.
Yeah.
He said it was 20 miles that way. I can take you 10 of those miles.
And those 10 miles went by very quickly.
Yeah. If you're in a car and it's a pretty empty road, just take her 10 more miles, dude.
Yeah. It's
were
literally
It's not
just
like he was going to
trying
run out of oil.
It's like 10 minutes.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
Ralph biked there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are making weird choices in 1979. Every episode we give a rating out of 5 on a scale of your choice, and I'll put those on our Letterboxd account. That's late to the movies at letterboxd.com. It's not an email address. It's literally if you're at the letterboxd.com website, you can find late to the movies. I realize I phrased it like an email address. So, whoever wants to jump in first on a scale of your choosing, going up by halves, what would you give this out of 5?
2.5 severed heads out of 5. That's good.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I'll say 2.5 jean shorts out of 5.
I'd probably say 2. I'm between 2 and 2.5 crazy moms out of 5.
Yeah, I'll go 2.5 machetes out of 5. The machete isn't the main thing in this one, even though I think that becomes Jason's main thing.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But it is used in the most kind of clipped moment from this movie, which is the mom's head flying off her body. And her hands going, oh
was
no, my head.
My dad was like, "Oh shit," and I'm just
there.
laughing.
Fucking there it goes. Yeah. Alice gets Alice gets a hold of that one.
She's been working
Knocks
out.
it out of the park.
I was like, finally. You should have killed this woman like 3 things in the
She
head
knocked
ago.
her down like 3 different times and just kept running away.
Yeah. And she had weapons too. She had that frying pan. She could just fucking...
That's the frying pan, fire poker. I was like, you literally just beat this face until it's unrecognizable. Like that is the move.
That lady had a head like a fucking like iron block. I don't know if you could have done it, but
Fair.
It's probably heavier than the rest of her body. That's why it's so impressive. She knocked it off with that machine.
It was ready to fall off just by sheer
fucking
weight.
was.
Yeah.
Taking into account that this was probably going to be a short episode, I did come up with a short game.
All right.
It's time. It's time once again for. Where'd I put the game? I'm looking at a Google Doc that I put way too much shit in.
Time. Game.
Time. The 6 podgrees of Kevin, Bacon.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, I see where this is going.
I have because I only came up with 6 questions. And you have to tell me if I'm using the short IMDb description of either a TV show or a movie, and you have to tell me if the title has Kevin or Bacon in it.
Okay.
So the way we can do this is, well, like give you the prompt, count to 3, hold up a 1 for Kevin or a 2 for Bacon.
Okay.
That way you don't like steal other people's. You know.
I feel like I need more time to guess.
Well, think about it.
Okay.
Does anyone have a D6 on the table?
Yes.
Oh, go fuck.
I do.
Because we're nerds.
I'm always prepared.
Cool. So I'm going to roll a D6 because I got 6 questions. And whoever lands near can roll it next. 2. This is a way to randomize the questions so you don't notice a pattern. And there's only 6 of them, so there is a pattern because how could there not be? All right, ready?
Wait, which is which? 1 is Kevin, 2 is
1
Bacon?
is Kevin, 2 is Bacon. Number 2. A mother struggles to love her strange child, despite the increasingly dangerous things he says and does as he grows up. I didn't count down, but everyone put 1 for Kevin.
What's wrong with Kevin? Or something like that, right?
Can anyone guess the title? I guess, yeah, we'll do a bonus point if you can guess the title.
I got nothing.
It's not Something's Wrong with
What's
Kevin
up
or
with
something?
Kevin?
You're very close. It's We Need to Talk About Kevin.
Oh, yeah. I saw that movie.
One of the funnier movie titles. Not a pretty good movie. Tilda Swinton's in that.
Oh, yeah.
We like Tilda Swinton. All right, roll it. Just don't get it 2.
I got it.
Robbie, you try.
5.
5. Okay. A retired police officer is on a fresh career path as he rises to the challenge of being a newly single dad. All right, you guys ready?
Oh, yeah, okay.
3, 2, 1.
I think Corey's got this one.
Kevin. Do you know what the title is?
I forgot.
Paul Mall Cop.
Very close.
No, that's what I was going to say. But
Wait,
it's
that's not the title?
No, it has to have Kevin in it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think it's close because I'm pretty sure Kevin James is in this.
He is.
Okay.
I immediately thought of.
I feel like you probably know it, but it's Kevin Can Wait.
I wouldn't have got that.
Same.
So we didn't actually say this after the first one.
I've seen it, though.
Everyone got the first one right, and Noah and Cory got the second one right. So
Womp womp.
2 Cory, 1 Robbie, 2 Noah.
Number
Trace.
3.
Number 3. 2 novice repo men are sent to serve a summons to a tough customer who hasn't paid for a radio. 3, 2, 1. You all guessed Bacon. It is Bacon.
Nice.
No one's going to guess the title. It's a
You're
1929
making
movie.
me crazy.
You're making me crazy.
Close.
Not like that one.
It's the Laurel and Hardy classic Bacon Grabbers.
Yes.
Would have never gotten that.
Nope, I've never heard of it before in my life.
Watch it every weekend.
Roll again, and then I'll just pick the last 2. There's a 50% chance we haven't done it before. 1. Okay. The U.S. president, low in the opinion polls, gets talked into raising his popularity by trying to start a Cold War against Canada. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1, go. You all guessed Bacon. You all got it right. That's Canadian Bacon. 1995's Canadian Bacon. All right, there's only a couple left, so I'll just take them in order. When Justine Lacroix, a charming TV reporter, meets a seductive surgeon, I fucked that up. A seductive surgeon, it is love at first sight and the beginning of a great love story. 3, 2, 1, go. Noah guessed Bacon. No one else did. Noah gets the points on this one.
Nice.
It is the French film Il Reste du Jambon.
Of course.
I don't hear
ham.
bacon at all.
Or by its American name, bacon on the side.
That's ham on the side.
The American name is bacon on the side.
Because we love bacon.
The French name is, I think, where's the rest of the bacon? Or where's the rest of the ham? Is there any ham left? I believe is the French literal translation. All right, and one more. So Noah's got 5, Cory's got 4, Robbie's got 3.
Which is what I'm guessing this one.
You're guessing 3 for this one? Interesting. All right, here's the last one.
Maybe it does.
A look at the secret life of a sitcom wife. 3, 2, 1. Robbie's the only one that got it right.
Oh.
And he guessed Kevin. If you can name the name of the show, I will say it is the most recent of anything on this list.
Give us like 10
Can you reread it?
A look at the secret life of a sitcom wife.
Stairway to Kevin.
I like it.
Hidden from Kevin.
Since it's a 1 point, Noah's still ahead by 1 point, but I'll give you another hint. It stars someone from Schitt's Creek.
That's not going to help me.
Yeah,
I don't
same.
know who
Okay,
anybody is.
sorry. Well, it's called Kevin Can Fuck Himself.
Wait, seriously?
Would not have guessed
Oh,
that.
yeah, no. But he can. Fuck Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks pretty. I've never watched it, but it's essentially like about like the wife in like a Kevin James sitcom and how much she hates her life and how angry she is about it.
Oh, that sounds kind of funny, actually.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great
And then that
concept.
stars Annie Murphy from Schitt's Creek.
Eddie Murphy?
okay.
Annie Murphy.
Oh, I was like, I'm in.
It stars Eddie Murphy as the wife.
that
He
would
was in
be
Schitt's Creek.
that's
I
amazing.
remember that.
All right, so Noah wins.
Woo!
Hell
Noah
yeah.
wins the first and probably final edition of 6 Pod Degrees of Kevin, Bacon.
The reigning champion.
And this was our second episode in, we never came up with a snappy title besides Summer Camp Month. Camp Pod, it's kind of like Camp Blood.
Okay.
It's also kind of like Camp Rock. We can
Late
buy
to summer camp.
That's what I was thinking too.
Camp Pod. Yeah, late to summer camp. Yeah. Would you guys go to this summer camp? Because I think we all thought we would
No.
go to the heavyweights one. It seemed kind of fun once they get it back from Ben Stiller. But this one doesn't seem as fun.
No, obviously not.
No, I don't wanna
Everybody
die.
died.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's going to reopen now that the owner and almost everyone who worked there was murdered.
I simply would not let the old woman stab me.
Yeah. Alice, not much of a fighter, but that's what she chooses to do, and it works for her.
I just feel like everyone else just chose to allow her to stab them. And I'd be like, hey, old lady with the knife, don't stab
They
me.
just looked at her like,
I mean, one caveat will give the guy under the bed a pass. He could
Yeah.
not have seen that coming. But everyone else pretty much was just like, whoa, this lady is stabbing me currently.
I didn't even think about it. Stabbing through a mattress and then through someone's body with an arrow, pretty difficult.
It's
Yes.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That amount of strength does not...
Like the axe, you could accidentally do that.
Yeah.
I think it was
Accidentally.
Because using the axe of weight, you know.
If Jason was hanging out of the camp, it could have been him.
Let's give some credit to Jason, okay?
Yeah.
To be fair, though, they also had Alice cut directly through the vertebrae, which is not something you can do with a machete. That's like a
Oh no!
a
It looked
claymore
like she
sword.
like just touched it and the head went.
Did you see her try to hammer a nail?
Yeah, yeah.
It was
my-
terrible, dude.
She was
It
like, "You
was
need some help there." And he's
terrible.
like, "Nope."
She's sideways, hitting it sideways, limp wristed. Oh, terrible.
That's how real G's do it, right?
And I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, all right. She just said it, so now she can put some real nails in there, right? Like that was just a little. Nope. She
It's
like
good.
takes her
It's
hands
good to
off,
go.
and it's just perfectly on the roof.
That was one
okay.
little, yeah.
All right. So Noah won the game. We gave it 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, and a 2 to 2.5.
And everyone else lost the game.
And everyone else. Oh fuck!
Yeah.
Including anyone listening.
That happened to me like
Streak
2
going.
months ago, and I was like, wow, it's been like 5 years.
Yeah, I think the last time
Yeah.
that happened to me was high school. So
It happens pretty frequently.
Yeah.
You had a good run.
had a good run. You can find us on, well, Letterboxd if you want to see those scores reflected, along with a fun, irreverent quote. I'd pick one from every episode. You can email Noah on their Gmail account. That's late2themovies@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram, late2themovies_podcast. Both of those are the number 2, not the letters. What else? Please rate, review, follow, share, tell a friend. You can find us on Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iTunes if you're just on a browser. You know,
Pornhub.
I'm in a desktop. Pornhub.
We're on there too.
Podbeans. Google. Just Google Late to the Movies. You have to put the word podcast after it, and then you can just press play from the Google results. That counts too. It all helps.
Samsung smart fridges.
Smart fridges, we're on those. Those drawer microwaves, we're on those too.
Yep.
That's why they're $1,100. What else? Yeah, that's it, right? That's the whole spiel.
I think that's it.
Oh, on TeePublic, buy that shirt with Greg's face on it. It's if you're looking at this, there's about a 50% chance TeePublic's currently having a sale because they kind of just go back and forth. Go get it. There's only 500 left, so make sure you get all of them.
They're selling fast.
They're all
folks.
in Ben's car. He needs to get rid of them.
Man, my mileage has been fucking terrible. It's just like
He sets up on the
Car's
side
so
of the road
heavy.
some players and he's trying to sell the shirts, but people
why
know
did I
what the
make all these
podcast
shirts
is.
with Greg's face on them? Greg hasn't even bought one.
Oh man.
Anyway, thanks for being on this podcast, and I don't know, some witty quote from the movie.
Good. Bye.
That was it. Good job, Noah.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
See ya.